I, Justin at Loretronic, am going to finally say the theory that all these security breaches fabricated videos have been leading to. I believe Gregory had his own type of security mask, allowing him to access to even more aspects of the Pizzaplex, and stay out of sight. I'm also going to flat out say I believe he is a humanoid animatronic, just like Charlie Bot, who is under the Afton influence to at least some degree. I think Gregory fabricated much of the story of Security Breach, just like his comic pages, to push his own narrative where he is more of a hero figure. Not only that, but I also agree with some of the theories out there that he is essentially the crying child recreated. I believe the essence of Afton as Glitchtrap saw Gregory as a potential replacement for his lost son, and the company allowed it to happen as some kind of giant experiment. Family has always been a major underlying theme in the entire series, with Henry losing his daughter Charlotte, in turn driving the events of FNAF 6, and the deaths of the Aftons pretty much driving most of the games. This theme continues into the new era of the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise. Patient 46. In Security Breach, you can find these retro CDs throughout the Plex that contain therapy sessions with two individuals. Interesting side note, these CDs are only revealed through the eyes of Glamrock Freddy. Just like it normally goes with FNAF lore, it is never directly stated that the patient, who never speaks, is Gregory. But it does hold ground that Patient 46 is most likely our mysterious boy. In CD 2-4672, the therapist makes a comment how their patient likes the shades pulled, making the room feel more like a cubbyhole or a cave.
Good morning. Isn't it a pretty day? No? What's the matter? Oh, right. Too bright. I'll pull the shades. Better? When the shade's pulled, it feels like we're in a cubbyhole or a cave? Yeah? So you're not talking to me again today. This isn't all that productive, you know. Don't you think the sessions are more successful when you talk to me? You know, everyone associated with this company gets performance reviews, right? When my sessions don't get results, my reviews aren't very good. If you don't want to talk for your own sake, how about for mine? You don't want me to get in trouble, do you? I could be put in the corner for a timeout. Yeah, you think that's funny, huh?
This would make sense if he became self-aware below ground in some sort of safe area. He still isn't used to the world above. The therapist then mentions how everyone at the company gets performance reviews. This tells us that Fazbear's knew about these bizarre therapy sessions. The therapist then says how if they don't produce results, they can get in trouble and put in the corner for a timeout. Is that what happened to the other therapists? They didn't get the results the company wanted, so they were replaced? Or maybe it is just because they were getting closer to what Gregory was doing. The dots are connecting. On CD 6-4674, the new replacement therapist mentions how the patient told the story of their past as if they were reading something from a book and not actually talking about their own past.
Good morning. It's good to meet you. I've read your file, so I'm up to speed on what you and your previous therapists have worked on. Sure, you can have a candy. I'll have one too. You look chill sitting there like that. Not a care in the world, huh? All right. Well, I'd like to start by talking about your parents. What happened to them and you was tragic. But when I looked through the notes, I didn't get a sense that you've processed that emotionally. When I read your account of what happened, it came across as, well, more of an objective rather than a subjective narrative. Oh, sorry. You don't know what that means, do you? What I mean is that the way you told the story is more like you were reading something from a book, then you were talking about your own past. That makes me think you've cut yourself off from it. Is that right? Not sure? Well, I see in your file that you spend a lot of time by yourself and are good at self-dialogue. You know what I mean? Asking yourself questions and getting answers. So maybe you should ask yourself how you really feel about your past. Maybe you should give yourself a chance to really look at what happened and let yourself be upset about it, so you can let it go.
From the story GGY, we know how much of a storyteller Gregory likes to be. He could literally be making up his own sob story about these parents he never actually had. On CD 13-4676, notice how after the dash they always start off with 46, hence patient 46. Our patient is now on their 4th therapist. The new hire mentions how 2 of the previous therapists have gone missing, one of whom was found murdered, the body mangled as if by some type of machine.
When I'm getting to know a new client, I like to start by finding out directly from them what they like to do. How do you spend all the time you have? Nothing. Well, how do you feel about sports? You like sports? Yeah? No? Oh, I get it. You like to watch them, but not play them. You like being inside, don't you? I get that. Lots of weird stuff outdoors, isn't there? Yeah, I understand. Well, I hate to do this right off the bat, but I've been directed to ask you about this. Apparently, I'm the 4th therapist you've had. And apparently, all 3 of your former therapists have gone missing. Or 2 of them are missing. I don't want to scare you, but I have to tell you that one of them was found dead. That doesn't seem to upset you. Well, then I guess I'll go ahead and tell you that the woman's body was pretty messed up. It looked like it was mangled by machinery. That doesn't bother you either? It's all pretty strange, I think. I'm not clear on the circumstances. Apparently the police don't have any evidence. How does all of this make you feel? Maybe I should be watching my back. Yeah, that's funny, isn't it? Okay, shall we move on to something lighter?
Patient 46 seemed to show no signs of emotion from this info. Wouldn't a normal human child feel bothered after hearing this? CD 15-4678. One of the most interesting therapy sessions, the classic ink blot test.
I saw some ink blot test results in your file. I like ink blot tests. You want to do one? Yes? Okay. How about this one? What do you see? What? You want to hold it? Okay. You think it's a mask? It reminds you of a mask? Like a disguise? Yeah, I can see that. You like the idea of being disguised? Disguises let you be sort of invisible, don't they? You can get away with almost anything when you're invisible, can't you? Yeah, you like that idea, huh? Well, okay, moving on. I have another report we need to talk about. Apparently, the techs were reviewing communications going in and out of this building, and they came across some interesting things. They say you were in communication with someone, or maybe something. Pretty strange. What do you think about that? Nothing? Well, the techs say it looked to them like it was an attempt to manipulate you, or maybe to lure you somewhere. There, that's better. On this side of the desk, I can see your eyes. The thing is, when I read the communications, I get something different out of them. I don't think you're being manipulated here. I think you're the one doing the manipulating. No comment? Huh? Okay. Then how about this? I have this still shot the techs pulled from the security footage that recorded you in the Pizzaplex. That's you, isn't it? I know this image is distorted, but I think it looks like you. And you're not alone here. You're talking to someone. Or something. It's hard to tell. What are those things? They almost look like rabbit ears. What? You find that amusing? Well, I guess it is.
When asked what the patients saw, they answered with, a mask. This session really makes you think if Gregory had a type of security mask of his own, if in the least knew about them. These therapy sessions hold so much lore to them, we will totally do a full breakdown video of these in the future. If you haven't already, please subscribe. It really does help the channel grow and gets us closer to being able to pump out more theories and videos. In our last video, we discussed the story of GGY, one of the shorts from the book Bobby Dot's Conclusion. This book had a major impact on modern-day FNAF games Security Breach and its DLC Ruin, because it not only gave us a bit of backstory to Gregory, but also contained the storyteller, which first introduced the world to the Mimic. With the release of Ruin, no one would have known what the animatronic at the end really is without that short story. The Mimic pretty much cemented the idea that these books are more than just side stories that are roughly based on the same universe. They have actual lore implications. Granted, not every story might have the clues we are looking for. A major twist in the books The Silver Eyes, The Twisted Ones, and The Fourth Closet was that the main protagonist Charlie, the daughter of one of our founders Henry, ended up being a humanoid robot. Henry, after the loss of his real daughter, created 4 robots, each one simulating a different stage of life. Toddler, child, teen, and adult. What if Gregory is no different? A product of the Fazbear Corporation that Afton saw as a potential candidate to replace one of his children. This would explain many things like his unusual hacking abilities, why Fazbear Entertainment might have given him such an important play card for access to the Pizzaplex, and why he doesn't seem to have aged in Ruin, even though the Pizzaplex has been closed long enough for plant life to be growing inside. Which also connects back to our theory that the Plex has been closed much longer than we thought. In another one of our videos, we discussed the warehouse training facility below the Plex, which also seemed to be some kind of personality training center. We know Fazbear Entertainment has been experimenting with personality programming for the animatronics. What would make creating the mind of a child any different? If not, maybe a little easier. The company wouldn't need any outside sources to test a lot of their new products meant for kids. I agree with much of the community that the Post-it note room was where our new creation of a little boy was beginning to become sentient. If not in the least, this is where he was sometimes kept. The images you see around are those a child would remember and think, especially if it's their special day. We discussed how it's possible the thought of a birthday is like some kind of safe mode for the animatronics, a type of happy place, making them more obedient/compliant and even happy. What if Afton had some sort of influence on this particular humanoid boy? Could Glitchtrap have managed to work some of his coding into Gregory's core, and the Post-it note room is where they are trying to make him an Afton? After all, Vanny is seen outside the entrance as if protecting this area. Or, what if the company was trying to recreate some of its founders that didn't need a paycheck and only gave results? Even better if that employee was a child for even greater results. A final note, which is interesting to think about, is the passage of time in Security Breach and Ruin. Yes, we get the hours listed up in the corner as the night goes on, but how do we know this is the truth? In Security Breach, after Vanessa captures Gregory and puts him in Lost and Found, you soon meet up with Glamrock Freddy, and he makes a very interesting comment of how he waited for you.
There you are. I was so worried. I waited and waited for you. I missed the hourly recharge and have been trying to get down to parts and service.
How much time has passed? We keep getting messages from the company apologizing for the mess that the Pizzaplex is just temporarily closed for repair.
Freddy and the gang are pretty tired, but they'll be back again next week after a few days of scheduled maintenance.
Even in the Ruin loading screen, we are still getting this message. You can see at the start of Ruin that there was enough time to pass for plants to start growing in the main entrance area. After some research and many interesting articles people wrote about if people just disappeared and what would happen to the buildings, I've been seeing an average of at least 2 to 3 years for plant life to begin really showing up inside a building. Of course, exposure to the outside world is also a major factor. At the end of Ruin, we supposedly hear the real Gregory talk to Cassie.
Cassie, can you hear me?
Gregory? Is that really you? I mean, really you?
I've been trying to reach you all night. I'm not at the pizza place. Something's trying to trick you.
He sounds the exact same as he did in Security Breach.
Okay, listen. You were sleeping, so I opened the stomach hatch and climbed inside.
If Gregory was truly a human child, he should sound different being a few years older, right? If Gregory truly is Patient 46, Fazbear Entertainment knew what they were doing. They wanted to watch this particular experiment closely. We know they have turned tragedies into profit before, with the events of the past turned into a VR horror experience with Help Wanted. And the case of Gregory with the fall of this particular Pizzaplex is no different. Thanks to everyone who stuck with us to the end. Please give us a like and share. In a future video, I will do an even further dive into why Gregory might be in Afton. Bye!